You lie back, letting the soft curve of the earth cradle you, and lift your eyes toward the infinite quilt of night. Darkness is not empty here. It hums quietly with the presence of countless stars, each one a tiny sun in a distant, unseen garden. You feel a subtle pulse, as if the universe itself breathes, and in that rhythm, you find a gentle invitation to wonder, to imagine, to float alongside ideas larger than your own. Your mind drifts to the very first twinkle that caught your attention tonight, a golden spark that seems almost deliberate in its shimmer. What if behind that light, a world waits to be discovered? A planet circling that star, not unlike our own blue home, quietly spinning through its own night and day, holding oceans, clouds, mountains, or maybe even something that stirs with life. You picture it as a quiet companion in the darkness, patiently tracing its orbit, unaware of your gaze. Each star is a story, and each story can host worlds unseen. These distant planets, exoplanets, as the scientists call them, are not just points of light, they are landscapes, histories, climates, and possibilities, all hidden behind the glare of their suns. You imagine tracing a line from your eyes to one of these distant orbs, crossing the invisible void in a heartbeat, as if your mind could fold the universe into a gentle, reachable path. What textures might you feel there? What colors would paint its skies? Slowly, almost reverently, you allow curiosity to settle like a warm blanket over your thoughts. You picture the methods astronomers use to find these worlds. A tiny wobble in a star's dance, a subtle dip in light as a planet slips in front of it. These are whispers of distant realities, delicate hints that the universe is fuller than it seems. You imagine standing on the surface of one of these exoplanets, if you could, feeling the pull of a star not your own, noticing how the sky bends in unfamiliar ways. There is a strange intimacy in knowing that even here, across unimaginable distances, physics writes the same language everywhere: gravity, light, motion, cycles. These laws connect you quietly to realms so far away that your mind cannot measure them fully, yet you feel their presence as softly as a sigh. In the hush of night, your imagination grows roots. You picture a planet where the sky is a shifting swirl of green and gold, where clouds are taller than mountains, where seas glow with the faint trace of bioluminescence. Somewhere else, there is a world so cold that even the light of its star struggles to warm it, its surface a crystalline lattice of frozen silence. And in each case, you feel the serene beauty of these distant homes, untouched and unhurried, existing in patient orbit. The sheer number of possibilities begins to wrap around your mind like a gentle tide. Every star you see could host not one, but many worlds. Planets as tiny as moons, giants that dwarf Jupiter, strange hybrids that defy your imagination. The universe is generous in its diversity, and each discovery you imagine is a note in a slow, symphonic narrative that stretches across eons. You sense, almost physically, the quiet excitement of knowing that humanity has begun to glimpse these worlds, mapping them with careful observation, as if listening to the faint heartbeat of distant suns. You feel the intimacy of perspective here. Though light years separate you from these worlds, understanding them draws you closer. The concept of distance becomes not a barrier but a bridge, an invitation to stretch your mind and fold curiosity like origami. You start to see your own planet from above in imagination, a fragile jewel suspended in the cosmic dark, and realize that the very act of wondering about exoplanets deepens your connection to home. The Earth beneath your back feels alive in its orbit, a companion to countless worlds that may, in their own ways, be companions too. Some exoplanets are caught in strange dances. You imagine a world orbiting so close to its star that days last months and nights longer still, with firelight skies melting into icy shadows. Another swings far away, caught in a lazy, elongated orbit, where seasons stretch across centuries. In each case, you feel the patient rhythm of cosmic mechanics, moving with quiet certainty, untouched by haste, yet full of subtle change. Your thoughts relax into this rhythm, matching the ebb and flow of light and dark, warmth and cold, presence and absence. The methods of discovery themselves carry poetry. You imagine astronomers as gentle listeners, peering through telescopes, reading the subtlest signals from faraway stars. Their instruments, designed with human curiosity and ingenuity, catch the faintest hints of a planet passing by. You picture the fleeting shadow crossing a luminous disk, a momentary wink in the cosmos, and you smile at the patience required to notice it. In that moment, science feels like meditation, a quiet attention, a tender focus, a dance between what is seen and what is known. Somewhere between your breaths, you sense the scale. Thousands of exoplanets discovered, billions possibly waiting beyond. Your imagination stretches to accommodate their diversity, the hot Jupiters, swollen and glowing in crimson light, the rocky Earth-like worlds, promising in their tentative blue-green hues, the strange hybrids, painting landscapes no artist could replicate. And yet, each is both foreign and familiar, a reflection of universal principles at work. The vastness hums, not threatening, but comforting in its constancy, a lullaby for an inquisitive mind. As you gaze longer, the stars seem less distant, less intimidating. Each spark is a quiet companion, each orbit a gentle rhythm to rest upon. You feel yourself drifting toward understanding, not full knowledge, but a warm, satisfying awareness that these worlds exist, patiently spinning, silently narrating stories across time. The hum of the universe becomes a song of infinite potential, a lullaby of possibilities, and you allow your curiosity to ride its gentle waves. And now, as your mind begins to soften into the hush of sleep, you imagine following one planet, tracing its slow, patient path around its star, feeling the warmth of light years fold into something intimate, something almost tangible. The quiet wonder of discovery, the delicate balance of motion and time, settles over you like a soft cloak. Somewhere out there, planets await your imagination, patient and serene, ready to invite you further into the cosmic dance. You stand beneath the quiet canopy of the cosmos, where the night sky is a gentle ocean of stars. Each point of light feels impossibly far, yet somehow, it carries secrets. Beyond the reach of our hands, beyond the sweep of our imagination, planets circle their stars, hidden in the subtle dance of gravity and light. To find them, scientists listen, not with ears, but with instruments tuned to the faintest whispers of the universe. Imagine a star as a distant lantern, glowing steadily in the dark. It seems constant, yet if you watch closely, with a patience deeper than time itself, you may notice a subtle sway. A tiny wobble. Like a leaf trembling in a soft wind. This is no random shiver, it is the gentle tug of an unseen companion. A planet, unseen, pulls delicately at its star, leaving an almost imperceptible fingerprint in the star's motion. This is the radial velocity method, a careful measurement of movement so small that it challenges the very limits of human observation. You can feel the rhythm of it, a heartbeat stretched across light years, repeating silently, faithfully. Now, shift your gaze to another kind of listening. Picture a star that, from your distant viewpoint, dims ever so slightly. A flicker of light, a brief shadow passing across its face. This is the transit method. Each dip tells a story, a planet crossing the face of its star, casting a shadow so faint that only the most sensitive telescopes can see it. You sense the pattern, the timing, the precision. Each tiny darkening is like a soft exhale from a sleeping giant, revealing itself in whispers. Through these subtle signals, the universe becomes a language of light and shadow, one that rewards patience and attentiveness. You imagine the telescopes themselves, standing tall and vigilant, their mirrors and lenses tuned to catch the smallest variation in starlight. Some are on Earth, braving wind, cold, and sky pollution, while others float in the vacuum of space, untouched by earthly turbulence. They gaze steadily, capturing photons that have traveled across decades, centuries, perhaps millennia, to reach them. In each photon, a story of a distant world waits, a planet you cannot see, yet whose existence can be inferred through its gentle influence on its star. You sense the intimacy of this relationship, a cosmic whisper exchanged across impossible distances. Sometimes, planets reveal themselves not through their effects on stars, but by the light they reflect. Imagine a planet glimmering faintly as it catches its star's rays, a mirror in the vast darkness. Direct imaging is rare, yet magical. Scientists must block the star's overwhelming glare, isolate the faint reflection of the planet, and listen to its story. Each image is a frozen sigh of distant light, a fleeting glimpse of a world that exists in a harmony of shadows and photons. You feel the wonder of it, the quiet triumph of patience meeting ingenuity. Other planets are discovered through even more subtle traces. Gravitational microlensing, for instance, allows astronomers to sense planets when a massive object passes in front of a more distant star, bending its light like a lens. If a planet accompanies that object, its presence slightly tweaks the lensing effect. It is almost ghostly, a hidden hand altering the shape of light in a way that only careful analysis can reveal. You picture the careful calculations, the data sifted and compared, until the planet's signature emerges from the noise. Each detection is a soft victory, a confirmation of worlds previously imagined but unseen. You begin to understand that each method, radial velocity, transit, imaging, microlensing, is like a musical instrument in a cosmic orchestra. Individually, each plays its quiet note, subtle and delicate. Together, they create a symphony of discovery, revealing planets of every size and orbit, each with its own rhythm and character. You feel the gentle pulse of this symphony, a heartbeat echoing across the universe, connecting distant worlds to your own awareness. It is a lullaby of curiosity, inviting you to listen more closely. The data collected is never instant, it is the accumulation of nights, months, and sometimes years. Every observation is a patient act of listening, a meditation in itself. Scientists compare charts, trace light curves, and measure stellar shifts with meticulous care. Every anomaly is questioned, every flicker examined, because the universe is full of imposters, stars that pulse naturally, cosmic dust that dims light, and instrumental quirks that mimic planetary signs. Yet within this meticulous attention lies the beauty, the slow unveiling of truth, the gentle revealing of worlds once hidden. You feel the rhythm of patience, the soft persistence of those who dedicate themselves to hearing what the universe whispers. And then, when a signal finally convinces, a planet is confirmed. You imagine it there, unseen, circling its star in quiet grace. Perhaps it is large and gaseous, with swirling clouds of color that dance in a gentle, eternal storm. Perhaps it is small and rocky, its surface scarred by impacts over eons. Perhaps it sits in the habitable zone, where temperatures allow water to flow and life might stir. You cannot see it with your own eyes, yet you know it exists. You sense the intimacy of knowledge gained, the quiet joy of discovery, and the expansive humility that comes with knowing how much remains unseen. You notice the human element, too. Scientists feel these discoveries deeply. Their nights are long, their eyes strained, their minds attuned to subtle variations in light. Yet each success, a planet confirmed, a new system charted, carries a gentle triumph. They speak of their findings with wonder, as if reading aloud a poem written by the cosmos. You imagine yourself among them, sharing in their awe, feeling the quiet connection between observer and universe. It is a meditation on patience, curiosity, and the beauty of the unknown. Sometimes, you dream of the next step, characterizing these planets. Spectroscopy allows you to hear the chemical whispers of their atmospheres, to detect the presence of water, methane, or oxygen. The stars themselves, once only points of light, now become storytellers revealing the composition of distant worlds. Each measurement is a note in the ongoing song of discovery, a reminder that even across light years, information can travel, touch, and transform understanding. You feel the poetry of it, the gentle unfolding of the cosmos into human comprehension. As you settle into this rhythm, you realize that finding planets is more than a scientific pursuit, it is a meditation on presence and patience. Every method is an act of listening, every detection a soft acknowledgement of the universe's intricate choreography. You sense the vastness not as overwhelming, but as comforting, a reminder that even in a night filled with countless stars, each has its own story, each carries companions circling faithfully in silent orbits. The cosmos becomes a lullaby of curiosity, softly guiding your thoughts toward wonder. And so, you drift along this quiet path of discovery, your mind attuned to the rhythm of unseen planets. You feel the intimacy of distance, the poetry of measurement, and the tender triumph of knowing that patient observation reveals worlds otherwise hidden. With every flicker, every wobble, every tiny dimming of starlight, the universe hums softly to you, inviting you to continue listening. You sense that the story is far from over, that new methods, new worlds, and new discoveries await just beyond the veil of darkness, ready to teach you their quiet songs. You drift slowly into the space between stars, carried by an invisible current. Your mind loosens, your senses stretching to meet the worlds around you. Ahead, a planet basks in the glare of its sun, its surface a shimmering tapestry of molten rivers and blackened rock. You can feel the heat from millions of miles away, soft as a warming hug, yet infinitely more intense. The air, or what would be air if you could breathe it, shimmers with a liquid shimmer of energy, rising in waves and curling like smoke. Here, the world is fire, a place where time itself seems to flow like glowing lava, slow and deliberate, shaping valleys and mountains in its gentle but unstoppable march. You hover closer, noticing the colors. Red, orange, and molten gold swirl together in vast pools, separated by jagged edges of cooled stone. The landscape pulses with energy, almost alive in its quiet, relentless transformation. Each ripple in the lava tells a story of pressure and release, of energy finding its way to the surface. You imagine that if you could step onto this world, each footfall would sink into yielding heat, leaving an imprint in a living, ever-changing canvas. Yet, even in this ferocity, there is a rhythm. You sense it as you watch, the push and pull of energy, the constant interplay of creation and destruction. It is wild, but not chaotic. There is order in the movement, an elegance in the dance of atoms and fire. From this blazing realm, your attention shifts. A few million kilometers away, another planet waits in silence. Its surface glitters faintly under the pale light of a distant sun. Here, ice dominates the land. Mountains of frost rise like frozen waves, and plains stretch endlessly, smooth and untouched. A gentle wind seems to whisper across the surface, brushing the crystalline formations and sending tiny sparkles into the void. You imagine the cold biting against your skin, sharp yet invigorating. It is a stillness that sings, a quiet beauty that contrasts with the fiery turbulence you just witnessed. The ice planet has its own kind of motion. Rivers of liquid methane weave beneath frozen crusts, shaping valleys and canyons in secret, hidden from the eyes of casual observers. Glaciers move almost imperceptibly, like deep breaths of a sleeping giant. You watch as snow drifts settle in patterns, tiny details forming enormous tapestries of crystalline art. Here, time feels slower, each moment stretching to fill the expanse. Your mind relaxes, carried by the gentle patience of ice, feeling a soft echo of eternity in its silence. And yet, as you float between these extremes, your senses attune to their dialogue. Fire and ice, heat and cold, motion and stillness, they are not opposites in conflict but partners in a cosmic waltz. One tempers the other, one completes the other. You feel the warmth of the lava planet and the cold of the frozen world at once, and in that duality, your mind finds balance. You are neither consumed nor frozen, you are free to experience the full spectrum, the extremes of nature held together in the quiet order of the universe. You allow yourself to imagine walking across each terrain. On the volcanic planet, your feet sink gently into glowing sands, leaving traces that vanish as the surface shifts beneath your weight. You reach out to touch the lava, and although you cannot feel heat directly, there is a sense of movement and energy, of life in constant flux. You sense the air thick with particles of iron and silica, each one shaped by millennia of fire. You breathe in the essence of creation, carried not by lungs but by thought. The planet seems aware of you, acknowledging your presence in its vast, incandescent expanse. On the ice planet, you imagine stepping onto frozen plains, the surface cold but steady. Each step echoes in the silence, sending tiny vibrations through the crust. Snowflakes drift in delicate patterns, invisible yet omnipresent. You touch a crystal, feeling its sharp perfection in your mind, understanding its beauty without needing to hold it. Here, there is patience. The ice does not hurry, it does not demand. It simply exists, shaping and being shaped over eons. You feel the quiet majesty of frozen time, and it soothes a restless part of your mind. In your journey between these worlds, you notice smaller details. On the volcanic planet, small geysers erupt occasionally, sending molten droplets into the thin atmosphere. You imagine them like the exhale of a massive, sleeping creature, punctuating the steady pulse of energy. On the ice planet, fissures crack open slowly, revealing glimpses of hidden rivers beneath. The contrast is gentle but constant, fire and ice shaping their domains, pushing and pulling, yet never completely overwhelming one another. You feel this balance deeply. It is a reminder that extremes exist not to frighten or dominate, but to teach, to show the many ways life, matter, and energy can flow. You begin to sense a larger pattern. Both planets orbit their suns, carrying their extremes in silent harmony. Their rotations create day and night, light and shadow, warmth and chill. Even the harshest surface features, lava flows, frozen cliffs, participate in a quiet symphony of natural law. There is beauty in the laws themselves, the rules that govern fire and ice alike, guiding them to form shapes and rhythms beyond human scale or comprehension. You imagine that every star in the sky holds its own extremes, its own dance of contrasts. Somewhere, another world balances between opposites, unseen but present, carrying a story as rich and intricate as the ones you now visit. And yet, you do not need to move. Even here, suspended in the gentle current of space, you feel each planet as if it were within you. Heat and cold mingle in your perception, extremes blending into a soft spectrum of sensation. You realize that your mind has adapted to witness opposites without fear. Fire does not burn too sharply, ice does not bite too deeply. They simply are, and you simply are, observing and understanding. The lesson is subtle but profound. Contrast exists not to harm but to enrich. Through extremes, the universe invites you to see, to feel, to reflect. As your attention drifts from molten rivers to frozen valleys, you notice the faint shimmer of atmospheres, thin veils of gases wrapping each world, softening the edges, providing a kind of gentle filter through which you can perceive the extremes safely. You imagine winds carrying scents you cannot smell, particles you cannot touch, yet sensing them with your awareness. There is a rhythm to these atmospheres, a quiet breathing that connects the inner movements of the planets to the vast space around them. You float in the middle, a silent observer of the dance. You allow your mind to explore freely. Mountains of lava meet plains of ice in imagined landscapes, fire and frost coexisting in poetic collision. You feel the temperature shift, a subtle warmth giving way to a soothing chill. You sense the texture of rock, the sharpness of frost, the slow flow of energy through matter. Time stretches, and in this stretching, you notice the continuity. One extreme leads naturally to another, one movement flows into the next. There is no abruptness, no jarring shift, only the gentle rhythm of the universe guiding your perception. Your thoughts expand outward. Stars in distant corners blink softly, each a sun with its own story, each potentially nurturing planets of fire, ice, or both. You sense the immensity of scale, worlds spinning, burning, freezing, existing in an intricate choreography. You feel part of this dance, not as a controller but as a witness. There is serenity in this role. You do not need to interfere or alter, simply perceiving, understanding, and appreciating is enough. As you float, you begin to notice the emotional texture of the extremes. Fire evokes excitement, a restless energy that stirs curiosity and courage. Ice brings calm, a patience that invites reflection and quiet understanding. Together, they balance, shaping not only planets but perception itself. You recognize that the universe uses extremes to teach subtle truths: resilience in heat, patience in cold, wonder in both. You feel these lessons in your mind, in the gentle rhythm of your breathing, as if the planets themselves are whispering through space. The journey does not end here. Each planet fades gently from view, making space for countless others, each with its own character, its own extremes. You carry the memory of fire and ice, of movement and stillness, warmth and chill, knowing that these experiences have shifted your perception. You feel a soft curiosity rising. What other contrasts exist? What other worlds will challenge and soothe your mind in equal measure? You float forward, aware that the universe is full of secrets yet to be touched, patterns yet to be understood, and extremes yet to be felt. You float above a world wrapped in frozen silence, the crust of ice glinting faintly under distant starlight. There is a stillness here that feels almost sacred, as if the planet itself holds its breath, waiting. Beneath the rigid surface, you sense something warmer, something alive in its own quiet rhythm. It is not visible, yet you know it exists, a hidden ocean, dark and deep, tucked beneath layers of ice, moving softly like a pulse beneath the skin of the planet. Imagine the pressure of those icy walls, pressing down, yet unable to extinguish the slow dance of currents beneath. Life, if it exists here, does not rush. It does not call attention to itself. It simply is. And in this calm, you feel an echo of something familiar, the resilience of being, the patient unfolding of possibility. Your own heartbeat slows to match the rhythm of these secret waters. You drift closer to the surface, imagining what it might feel like to touch this ice. It is hard and cold, a barrier that seems unyielding. And yet, beneath it, warmth gathers. The ocean hums in gentle waves, invisible yet perceptible in the vibrations of the world. Each ripple is a message, a whisper of persistence, of hidden potential. Even in what appears lifeless, there is movement, there is waiting, there is growth. Consider the creatures that might inhabit this ocean. They are unknown, perhaps tiny, perhaps grand, adapted to the pressures and darkness. They might glide silently, undisturbed by the thin layer of ice above. Their existence is not measured by spectacle but by the quiet poetry of survival. You imagine bioluminescent glimmers in the dark waters, the faintest hint of motion, like stars reflected in a blackened lake. They teach patience and adaptability, showing that life is not only in the light but in the spaces that hide from it. Your mind wanders to the idea of exploration. Humans have imagined these worlds for centuries, sending probes and telescopes, listening for signals, waiting for answers. And here, in this quiet meditation, you become part of that patient curiosity. You do not need to touch, to see, or to name. Observation alone, the act of imagining and feeling, creates connection. Even across the vast distances of space, you are part of the story, a witness to the gentle persistence of the universe. Notice the ice above, reflecting distant starlight in soft glimmers. It seems like a barrier, yet it is protective, cradling the ocean beneath. This is a lesson that you carry inward. Sometimes the very things that seem hardest or coldest hold life's possibilities safe. The universe often works in hidden layers, in subtle ways that require trust and patience to perceive. You breathe in this lesson, feeling the coolness of the ice and the warmth it shelters simultaneously. The ocean beneath may be vast or modest, turbulent or still. You imagine it stretching endlessly, or folding upon itself in hidden valleys and caverns. Currents might swirl in quiet circles, lifting nutrients, shaping habitats for unseen life. You can almost hear the rhythm of the water, a soft susurration, like whispered conversation across millennia. It is a sound of continuity, of cycles that endure without applause or attention. And in hearing it, you understand that patience is a form of vitality. You imagine the chemistry of these waters, salts and minerals stirred gently by unseen forces, warmth held in the deep, energy flowing slowly yet surely through the dark. Perhaps there are vents, subtle and warm, where heat escapes from the planet's core. Around these, life might gather in concentrations, tiny ecosystems formed against all odds. In their simplicity and quiet ingenuity, they demonstrate the endless creativity of existence. You feel gratitude for this, for the resilience hidden in places you may never see. Floating here, you consider your own connection to patience. Just as these oceans move unseen, your own growth and understanding may be gradual, unobservable to the casual eye. Yet under the surface, transformation occurs. You are shaped by currents of thought, by warmth that persists through coldness, by energy that flows slowly but persistently. You recognize a kinship with these hidden worlds, resilient, persistent, quietly thriving. The ice, the dark ocean, the faint glimmer of distant light, all of it is intertwined. Nothing exists in isolation. Even unseen life in these waters contributes to the story of the planet, the story of the solar system, the story of your imagination tracing its form from light years away. There is a softness to this interconnectedness, a gentle reminder that every hidden layer matters, every quiet pulse carries meaning. Drifting further, you allow your mind to explore the concept of time here. Time moves differently beneath the ice. It is not measured by days or nights, by seasons or cycles of light. It moves in slow pulses, in the gradual motion of currents, in the patient dance of potential life forms. You feel your own perception of time soften, stretch, as if absorbing the calm rhythm of this hidden ocean. Moments lose urgency. Each second is a small, valuable wave, carrying unseen treasures. Consider the explorers of these worlds, scientists, dreamers, and poets who imagine life in the dark. They send instruments that beep and whirl, that measure and analyze, yet always with the understanding that the most profound truths may never be fully revealed. Observation, imagination, patience, these are the tools that bridge the visible and invisible, the known and the mysterious. And as you drift here in your own quiet meditation, you too participate in this gentle exploration. There is a meditative power in imagining these oceans. You can picture the flow of water, the subtle warmth, the small beings that might live there, and the ice above that cradles it all. Each ripple is a reflection of resilience. Each hidden movement is a testament to persistence. The universe, in its vastness, offers endless lessons in patience and quiet endurance. You feel this lesson not as an obligation but as a gift, a gentle invitation to notice, to imagine, to trust in the unseen currents shaping life. You imagine the moment when humans may someday touch the ice or peer beneath with more sophisticated instruments. What will they find? Perhaps life in some form, perhaps only the echo of water, perhaps answers that inspire more questions than they resolve. This uncertainty is not troubling, it is part of the rhythm, part of the poetic unfolding of understanding. The ocean beneath the ice remains resilient, moving at its own pace, unaffected by impatience or desire, offering lessons in stillness and potential. You sense the subtle warmth in your own body echoing the hidden warmth of these oceans. Life's energy, though sometimes unseen, is persistent. Currents flow, cycles repeat, and transformation occurs quietly beneath protective layers. You feel a calm kinship with these hidden oceans, a recognition that patience and resilience are universal, stretching across planets and light years, connecting you to the slow pulse of the cosmos. Even as you begin to drift away, leaving the icy surface behind, the hum of the ocean stays with you. It is an echo you can carry inward, a meditation on resilience, quiet persistence, and hidden potential. Each ripple beneath the ice becomes a reminder that life can thrive in darkness, that mysteries can be comforting, that patience itself is a form of wisdom. The ice and water fade from view, but the soft hum remains, carrying you gently toward worlds yet to be discovered, where the lessons of hidden oceans may meet new rhythms that beckon you to listen and to drift once more. Close your eyes and imagine a vast, endless space, a velvet black stage sprinkled with countless points of light. Each star hums its own quiet song, its vibrations brushing gently against the edge of your awareness. You feel as if you are floating above the world, above the cities and oceans, drifting toward something older than time itself. There is a rhythm here, subtle yet unwavering, a dance performed with infinite patience. The planets, each one unique, glide along invisible paths drawn by forces you cannot see, yet sense in every part of your being. The earth beneath your feet is not still, it moves, slowly spinning, turning toward the sun in a deliberate, graceful arc. Your breath matches this rhythm without effort. In, out, a soft reflection of the cosmic pulse. You are both observer and participant in this slow, magnificent waltz. Imagine Mercury, the smallest, racing in its quick orbit, playful and eager. Venus follows, glowing with quiet warmth, its atmosphere a soft blanket of swirling clouds. You feel the gentle tug of their motions, subtle vibrations brushing against the edges of your consciousness. These pulls are the language of gravity, an invisible thread connecting worlds in a choreography older than memory. Every movement is balanced, a delicate negotiation between speed, mass, and distance. Your mind drifts farther, beyond the planets closest to the sun, beyond the familiar constellations. Mars comes into view, a quiet red whisper in the vast darkness. Its surface tells stories of wind and dust, of iron-rich soil slowly shaped by time. You sense the slow pulse of its orbit, a heartbeat different from your own, yet somehow synchronized to the same universal rhythm. In this space, every motion feels intentional, like the sway of a boat on calm water or the rise and fall of your chest as you rest. Jupiter appears next, immense and commanding, a giant with a presence you can feel in the subtle pull of gravity. Its many moons orbit in hushed conversation, moving as if listening to an unspoken melody. You feel yourself responding, your body gently swaying to match the unseen tempo. Each moon traces its path with patience and certainty, a reminder that even chaos has an underlying order. Saturn glides nearby, regal with rings that shimmer like scattered stardust. You imagine the particles spinning around it, each piece following its own course, yet together forming a circle of quiet perfection. Beyond Saturn, the distant ice giants drift, Neptune and Uranus, mysterious and slow-moving. Their colors, pale blues and greens, feel like a sigh across the darkness. You sense the enormity of the distances, the vast emptiness between orbits, yet the rhythm persists. Each planet's motion is a note in a cosmic symphony, gentle yet precise. As you breathe, you feel yourself merging with this cadence, your heartbeat a quiet echo of the universe's own pulse. Now, imagine the stars, each one a sun in its own right, scattered across the black canvas. Some are bright and young, blazing with energy. Others are older, softer, their light a distant memory of past brilliance. They move too, not wildly, but with purpose, rotating within galaxies, interacting in dances that take millions of years. You realize that even in their vast separation, they influence each other, gravitational whispers nudging paths, drawing lines in the invisible web of space. You feel the web of gravity surrounding you, subtle yet undeniable. It stretches in every direction, connecting planets, stars, moons, and even you. The pull of these forces is gentle, not violent, like the caress of a soft wind or the slow roll of ocean waves. Each tug reminds you that nothing exists alone, that everything is a part of a larger movement. Your body senses it too, as if every cell is aligned to the slow turning of worlds. In the distance, galaxies spin, each a massive congregation of stars, dust, and dark matter. Their spirals unfold slowly, centuries passing in moments as you watch. You sense the enormity of these structures, yet the dance remains intimate, personal even. The patterns of rotation echo in your chest, your breath falling into sync with a rhythm far beyond human measurement. You imagine yourself riding along the spiral arms, weaving through stars, drifting through clouds of cosmic gas, all while the galaxy hums its quiet, eternal song. Comets streak silently across the void, tails trailing like ribbons in a soft breeze. Meteors blink into existence, brief sparks of curiosity and wonder. You follow them with your inner eye, feeling the fleeting moments of energy, the delicate arcs they trace across the night sky. Even these brief dances respect the rhythm, their paths calculated by gravity's invisible hand. Each streak, though transient, contributes to the quiet harmony, adding texture to the lullaby of motion. As your mind travels deeper into this cosmic choreography, you notice the subtle interplay of light and shadow. Planets reflect their suns in delicate glimmers. Nebulae glow faintly, clouds of gas and dust cradling the birth of new stars. Even darkness has weight and shape, forming valleys and hollows that guide motion without visible touch. You feel enveloped in this careful balance, a sense of being held by forces unseen but profoundly present. And yet, for all its scale and grandeur, there is a softness here. The universe moves not with harsh urgency but with patience, teaching a quiet lesson in persistence, rhythm, and harmony. You realize that you, too, move within this dance. Every breath, every heartbeat, every thought is a subtle step in the infinite choreography. You are part of the gravity that pulls, the light that guides, the silent music that threads through space. In this moment, you are weightless and grounded, a witness to and participant in the cosmic ballet. Your mind floats alongside planets, drifts through galaxies, and sways with the unseen hands of gravity. Time stretches, soft and pliable, carrying you gently toward understanding and wonder. There is no rush, only the ongoing, quiet affirmation of movement, the infinite dance of mass, light, and space. Let this rhythm linger, a gentle echo in your chest and a soft pulse behind your eyes. Imagine carrying this cadence into dreams, letting each thought float like a star, each feeling sway like a planet in orbit. You are part of the gentle cosmic lullaby, your body and mind attuned to the eternal movements of the universe. And as you drift, just beyond the edges of what you can see, another question emerges. If the planets and stars move with such deliberate grace, what mysteries might await in the spaces between, waiting for you to follow their silent, measured steps? You begin your journey in a space where colors are not what you know. There are planets out there, orbiting stars light years away, whose skies are brushed in tones that human eyes cannot fully see. Perhaps a soft teal pulses faintly around the edges of a cloud, or a gentle vermilion hums under an invisible sun. You do not need to name these lights, it is enough to feel them. You drift in thought, imagining the subtle shift of atmosphere, the way light bends in ways your mind can only trace, never capture. The telescope in your hand is both a tool and a metaphor, a bridge between curiosity and understanding. When you look, you are not simply seeking information. You are inviting sensation, allowing your awareness to float over the alien horizons, to notice the cadence of light as it moves, bends, and shimmers across distant skies. Perhaps one planet glows faintly, like a whisper of memory, while another gleams with a slow, constant hum that feels like time itself stretched thin. These colors are unspoken, unnameable, yet they speak to you in a language older than words. Imagine standing on a cliff of some exoplanet whose air is thick with gases you cannot breathe. The sky above is a gradient, not of blue or pink, but something softer, something that nudges the edge of thought without claiming to exist fully in your vocabulary. Light plays differently here. It dances through layers of atmosphere with a gentle insistence, a rhythm that is almost musical. You sense the weight of alien gravity, not as pressure, but as a quiet suggestion that every movement must be deliberate. Your body, in imagination, adapts. Your breath slows in synchronicity with this slow planetary heartbeat. Some exoplanets possess rings that glint like scattered memories of moons long vanished. You imagine tracing their curvature with your finger, feeling the echo of ice and dust shifting in an orbit dictated by forces invisible to you. It is not important to measure or quantify. You only watch, sensing the subtle refracted glimmers, as if the universe itself is breathing softly, revealing a secret cadence of light. You begin to feel the immense patience of cosmic processes, planets forming, gases swirling, magnetospheres whispering unseen stories. On others, clouds float in patterns that seem almost intentional, as if the wind is performing a quiet ballet across the atmosphere. Perhaps one evening, if the light were just right, you would notice a glow that feels like warmth brushing your skin, though the temperature may be far from anything human. It is sensation unanchored from measurement, curiosity unburdened by certainty. You sense the difference between seeing and perceiving, between naming a phenomenon and allowing yourself to exist inside it. Imagine a planet that seems to shimmer with shifting bands of color, almost like liquid starlight flowing over its surface. Your mind softens against the rigidity of definition. There are no strict labels here, there is only experience. You feel the way light bends over the curvature of alien oceans, how the atmosphere diffuses it into waves that fold over each other like soft fabric. The air itself seems to hum, not in a tone you can hear, but in a resonance you feel in your bones, an echo of vast distances and slow, patient time. You realize that seeing a planet is not only about eyes but about awareness. Perhaps the subtle reds, the greens beyond your perception, or the blue that is almost too soft to notice, carry a meaning beyond scientific notation. They are a reminder of how limited your senses are, how exquisite the universe is in what it hides from ordinary sight. To perceive a planet fully is to feel its presence as you would the brush of wind on skin or the distant pulse of a river under ice. The stars above each exoplanet reflect in ways that make the night shimmer differently from what you know. Their light bends and stretches across wavelengths you cannot directly sense. And yet, in this stretching, there is poetry. The unknown becomes gentle, a place to linger rather than to conquer. You feel the slow unfolding of light, the rhythm of photons traveling for centuries before they reach your imagined gaze. Every shimmer, every faint glow, is a story written in wavelengths beyond comprehension, yet you understand its quiet eloquence. Some exoplanets seem almost alive in the subtlety of their hues. The interaction between atmosphere and star, clouds and planetary rotation, creates a dance that is constant but never exactly repeated. You imagine standing in the shadow of one of its mountains, feeling the soft glow of alien light ripple across your imagined vision. Each movement of cloud and light is like a heartbeat, slow, meditative, insistent, yet gentle. You sense the patience of the cosmos, its refusal to rush, its quiet insistence on unfolding slowly, allowing you to exist alongside it, to notice without judgment. Time on these worlds stretches differently, at least in perception. You let yourself imagine a day lasting not hours but a gentle eternity, with the light shifting imperceptibly, blending hues in ways that feel like breathing. You notice the subtle layers of clouds, each reflecting and scattering light differently, creating a soft kaleidoscope of shifting colors. These are exoplanets that do not demand attention, they invite it. They teach you that presence is not about observation alone, but about allowing yourself to exist in the space between knowledge and feeling. Perhaps there is a planet whose atmosphere refracts starlight in a way that creates fleeting glimmers, tiny bursts of color like whispers against the void. You imagine standing at the edge of a crater, feeling these flashes against your awareness. They are not dramatic, not overwhelming, just quiet and persistent. Their beauty lies in subtlety, in the patience required to notice them. You sense the entire planetary system moving as a slow, deliberate organism, each orbit, each rotation, a part of a cosmic rhythm that continues without haste. You drift over another exoplanet, where the oceans, if they exist, reflect light so faintly that they are almost invisible. Yet, the interaction with the sky above creates an iridescence, a gentle blending of hues that feels like thought made visible. You notice the play of light, the reflections shifting imperceptibly as if the planet itself is breathing. You do not name the colors, you do not need to. Your mind stretches to perceive them as sensation, as an invitation to wonder without certainty. Each exoplanet you imagine teaches patience and presence. The glow of a distant sky, the shimmer of a thin atmosphere, the quiet pulse of light bending in alien layers, these are not things to grasp, but to feel. You are reminded that science itself can be gentle, a way to experience the universe with reverence rather than conquest. It is enough to imagine, to linger in these sensations, to notice subtleties that escape ordinary vision. The final planet in your meditative journey glows faintly in hues almost imperceptible. You imagine walking across a plain where the light folds softly around you, where every subtle color change is a heartbeat of a world alive in ways unseen. You breathe with the rhythm of alien days, letting the slow, shimmering light seep into your awareness. Here, science is poetry, knowledge is feeling, and observation is a form of gentle presence. You close your eyes to hold these impressions, letting the unknowable hues linger, soft and unresolved, in the spaces between your thoughts. Somewhere beyond your reach, other worlds turn quietly, each one glowing with its unique, subtle language of light. And in that quiet, you feel the invitation to continue, to drift gently toward the next horizon of curiosity, where mysteries await patient exploration and the universe hums its eternal, unspoken song. You step lightly into the sky of a world unlike your own. The air shimmers with colors you cannot name, hues born of elements dancing together in delicate balance. You inhale slowly, tasting the essence of alien chemistry, subtle metallic hints, whispers of unknown minerals, and a faint sweetness that lingers like the memory of flowers on a summer breeze. Each molecule floats in its place, a quiet symphony that sustains the planet, shaping clouds, storms, and the gentle curves of distant mountains. In the distance, you see a haze rising, a drifting curtain of gases that catches the light in slow motions. They swirl with the grace of a slow-moving river, bending and twisting in invisible currents. You follow these currents with your eyes, imagining the unseen forces that carry them across continents, across seas, shaping the climate in ways both small and vast. It is a dance older than any life that might have learned to breathe here, a choreography of physics that repeats endlessly, patiently, without need for applause. You wonder if life has felt this same rhythm, if it inhales and exhales in harmony with the breath of its world. Perhaps tiny creatures cling to floating seeds, drifting along unseen breezes, learning to live with the chemistry that envelops them. Maybe there are beings with lungs or gills that interpret this atmosphere in ways you cannot imagine, sensing subtle changes that mean life or danger. You feel the intimacy of these invisible layers, how every atom, every drifting particle, participates in a quiet conversation with all that exists. As the light shifts, you notice clouds forming, not from water alone, but from mixtures of exotic chemicals. They gather slowly, swelling with weight, then part gently, revealing glimpses of twin suns or rings of distant moons. Each cloud is a brushstroke of the atmosphere, painting landscapes that can never be held in a photograph or sketched on paper. You follow their drift, noticing how currents lift and twist them, how temperatures and pressures shape their form, creating shapes that resemble towers, waves, or the delicate fronds of ocean plants. A faint wind brushes your skin, carrying scents that defy memory, scents you cannot label but feel in the soft vibrations of your chest. You realize that the air itself tells a story, one of equilibrium and subtle exchange. Oxygen, nitrogen, or their alien equivalents mingle with trace gases, creating invisible bridges between rock, ocean, and perhaps life itself. Each exhalation by living creatures, each gust sweeping over desert plains or icy peaks, contributes to this great, ongoing conversation. You sense a rhythm that is calm, unhurried, patient beyond your understanding. Somewhere in the distance, lightning flickers, not harshly, but like the gentle tap of a musician testing a key. The energy travels along unseen pathways, illuminating clouds that shimmer in unexpected shades. You feel the pulse of this world, the electrical heartbeat that courses through its atmosphere, hinting at processes both violent and nurturing, necessary for maintaining balance. Even storms, with their rumbling and splintered light, seem like careful movements in a long, slow dance. You imagine a world where the chemistry of the sky defines the texture of life below. Plants, if they exist, might have adapted to absorb not just sunlight, but the particular gases that swirl in their atmosphere. Water, or something similar, might carry dissolved elements that nourish organisms in ways both familiar and alien. Each breath of air is a gentle, invisible reminder of this interconnection, that nothing exists alone, that each particle, each shift of the wind, participates in sustaining the whole. And yet, there is silence between these movements, the spaces that make rhythm possible. Between the rises and falls of cloud, between the drift of gases and the hum of unseen currents, there is a stillness that allows life to exist, or at least allows potential to unfold. You feel it as a calm settling over your mind, the soft exhalation of the universe, a patience so immense that it makes your own heartbeat seem quick. You float above strange oceans, their surfaces catching reflections of skies alien yet beautiful. Vapors rise from their depths, curling into the lower clouds like fingers reaching upward. You imagine the interactions below, currents moving nutrients, unseen chemical reactions releasing gases, life responding slowly, adaptively, in harmony with its environment. Each movement is purposeful yet unforced, a meditation of matter and energy. Sometimes, the air feels almost alive, as if it breathes with intention. You watch as colors shift imperceptibly, reacting to the subtle shifts in sunlight, magnetic fields, and chemical balance. There is no rush, no urgency, only a patient unfolding of possibilities. Even a small fluctuation in pressure, a minor change in temperature, might ripple outward, a story told across the invisible highways of the atmosphere. You notice how clouds gather around towering formations, how eddies of gases spiral into valleys or over cliffs. Each movement is part of a feedback loop, shaping the world and being shaped in turn. Life, if present, must have learned to read these signs, to move with them, to rest in their calm and hide in their shelter. You feel a soft kinship with any creatures that might exist here, sensing the same patience, the same quiet rhythm. The air carries sound in unexpected ways. You hear the faint whistle of wind through mineral formations, the distant crackle of lightning, the ripple of waves against alien shores. Sounds are shaped not only by the presence of matter but by the chemical nature of the atmosphere itself. Each note bends, stretches, and softens, creating a symphony that only attentive listeners could perceive. You close your eyes and let these invisible melodies fill you, feeling a sense of belonging in a world you may never touch. As night begins to fall, the skies deepen into shades you did not think possible, and the air becomes cooler, denser, more intimate. Stars emerge, faint at first, then brighter, reflected and filtered through layers of atmosphere. You sense that these distant lights are not just points in the void, but part of the same breath that carries your imagination across this world. They remind you that all matter, all energy, moves in concert, that even the smallest particle of gas is part of a cosmic story. You linger in this quiet awareness, feeling the weight of invisible forces and the gentle touch of unknown chemistry. Every inhalation is an exploration, every exhalation a release. You are both observer and participant in a dialogue that stretches beyond memory, beyond time, yet feels as intimate as your own heartbeat. You recognize that the atmosphere itself is alive with narrative, patience, and quiet beauty, teaching you a form of listening that goes beyond sound, sight, or touch. And as you drift above these skies, you carry the knowledge that even in worlds far from your own, there is rhythm, balance, and care. That life, if it exists, dances in tune with the elements, adapting, breathing, enduring. And in this realization, you find a calm understanding that every breath, every particle, every silent movement contributes to a larger story that stretches beyond you, and invites you to wonder what other whispers await in the next sky. You drift slowly through the quiet corridors of space, where the darkness is not empty but a soft, stretching canvas. Every speck of light, every distant glimmer, feels like a heartbeat of the universe, subtle, rhythmic, infinite. You notice a planet spinning gently in its orbit, its clouds swirling like ink dropped in water, twisting and curling with a slow elegance that feels familiar. Perhaps you have seen these shapes before in the sky at home, or in the patterns of river deltas that snake across your memories. There is a quiet recognition in your mind, a whisper that the cosmos, in all its vastness, carries echoes of the small, intimate worlds you know. The surface of this planet glows faintly in patches, reflecting light from a nearby star. Oceans stretch endlessly, their waves catching the light in slow, shimmering pulses, like the gentle rise and fall of your own breathing. You imagine standing at the edge of such a sea, the horizon folding into itself, infinite and soft, and you feel the same calm fascination you have felt when looking at water back on Earth. There is no urgency here, no need to touch or change anything. Observation alone is enough, and the mind opens like a flower in sunlight. Clouds drift across continents in patterns both chaotic and ordered. They mimic shapes you know, the long fingers of mountain ranges, the curve of valleys carved by rivers, the delicate lace of frost across a window pane. It is as though the universe has a vocabulary, a language of forms repeated across scales, from the microscopic to the galactic. You feel a gentle delight in seeing these shapes recur, as if the cosmos itself remembers, as if it holds tender familiarity even in places you have never been. Mountains rise sharply, jagged yet graceful, their peaks catching the light in slow, deliberate shifts of color. You think of your own mountains, the ones you have climbed or simply observed from a distance. The hardness of rock contrasts with the softness of the sky, yet both belong together, coexisting in a quiet harmony that your mind recognizes instantly. There is poetry here, a rhythm of matter and energy, of creation and erosion, that is older than any story you have ever known. It moves through you with a calm insistence, a gentle reminder that patterns repeat, and that these repetitions are not redundancy but a form of cosmic storytelling. As you drift, you notice the tiniest movements, a puff of mist rising from a crater, the glint of ice on a distant pole, the slow turn of a storm that curls like a seashell in the atmosphere. Each detail seems deliberate, precise, yet utterly relaxed, as though the universe itself breathes in measured, careful waves. Your own breath slows to match this rhythm, and the sense of familiarity deepens. These patterns, though alien in scale or composition, reflect the same principles you have always observed. Water flows, wind moves, heat rises, gravity pulls. The science of these worlds is different in detail but echoing in essence, a comforting reassurance that understanding is possible even among the unknown. You sense that even the night sky above this alien world carries reflections of your own home. Stars scatter in familiar constellations, though subtly shifted, suggesting the same geometry that guides your own nighttime gaze. The constellations are like friends speaking a slightly foreign language, recognizable yet mysterious. You feel the soft hum of connection, a bridge of light across unimaginable distance. This feeling is both thrilling and calming. The cosmos is vast, yet it holds threads of intimacy, connections that speak directly to your sense of wonder and belonging. Rivers carve gentle paths across the planet's surface, shimmering in the starlight. You imagine tracing their curves, running your fingers along their edges, even though you remain distant. They remind you of the rivers you have known, of water sliding over rocks, of the smell of wet earth after rain. There is a poetic echo in every bend, every delta, every trickle into a larger sea. Even alien water seems to carry stories of patience and persistence, a quiet, persistent shaping of the land that mirrors both natural law and narrative rhythm. Forests spread across valleys, a dense tapestry of shapes and textures that your mind almost instinctively maps. Canopies sway with the breeze, rustling softly in the wind of a world you may never touch. You imagine walking beneath those trees, hearing their subtle creaks and whispers. Though the leaves may be different in color, shape, and size, the essence of shelter, growth, and life is familiar. Your mind feels at ease recognizing these patterns, and a sense of home stretches beyond Earth, into the gentle repetition that the universe provides. Mountains, rivers, clouds, forests, each element echoes the others, both near and far, small and grand. You notice that the same dynamics of flow, growth, and erosion repeat at scales both enormous and minute. This realization is not a revelation but a soft acknowledgement, a gentle awareness that the cosmos is not random but guided by principles that resonate with your own understanding. It is a dance of forms, a rhythm of cause and effect, each pattern singing in harmony with the next. The poetry of structure brings a calm clarity, a meditative understanding that observation is itself an act of connection. Even light behaves with familiar grace. Sunlight filtering through clouds, bouncing across oceans, scattering in the thin atmosphere, each photon moves with predictable care, yet its play creates infinite subtlety. You feel a sense of wonder in recognizing how the simplest acts of physics give rise to beauty, how repetition is not mere mimicry but an expression of universal logic. Your mind rests in this understanding, accepting both the predictability and the gentle surprises, the calm and the stirring alike. In this quiet drift, you sense the passage of time differently. Days stretch across the horizon, unhurried, each rotation a soft spiral of light and shadow. Seasons change, subtly marking cycles of growth and decay. You realize that the cosmos itself is a meditation in motion, that observing these patterns is akin to reading a slow poem, each stanza unfolding with care, each line echoing those before it. The sense of continuity deepens, and with it, a gentle curiosity about what comes next, about the stories that other worlds might tell. The familiarity of shapes, the echoes of home, the gentle rhythms of motion, they all remind you that even in the vast unknown, you are not truly lost. Recognition is a quiet comfort, a signal that curiosity is both possible and rewarding. You notice your own thoughts slowing, attuned to the pulse of this alien world, yet carried by threads of connection to your own experiences. There is an intimacy in this understanding, a reassurance that observation alone can create a bridge across the void. As you float further, letting your mind wander through oceans, clouds, and mountains, you sense the continuity of cosmic storytelling. Each world repeats motifs in its own unique way, offering patterns that are both foreign and familiar. There is calm delight in seeing this repetition, in feeling the underlying logic of the universe, and in recognizing that curiosity is a gentle guide, leading you from one observation to the next. And as the light shifts again, casting soft shadows across distant lands, you realize that the echoes of home in the cosmos are only the beginning of a much larger story, a story that will continue to unfold, revealing connections deeper than you have yet imagined. You begin by imagining a planet far beyond your night sky, a world spinning silently in its own orbit. Its surface shimmers with hues you cannot name, catching starlight in ways your eyes have yet to see. You sense its day and night, not as rigid divisions, but as gentle flows, moments that fold into one another like the soft pages of a well-loved book. Each rotation is a quiet heartbeat, a rhythm older than memory, older than the air that brushes your skin. In this rhythm, you feel the passing of time differently, not hurried, not measured, but as a slow unfolding, like the petals of a flower welcoming the sun. You drift closer, though not in space, only in thought. The planet's clouds swirl in calm spirals, thick and luminous, each movement a story of wind and warmth, of pressure and release. You imagine standing beneath them, feeling the lightness of the atmosphere and the gravity that gently tugs your feet toward its heart. Here, even the pull of gravity seems tender, coaxing you into a gentle understanding of balance, a reminder that all forces, even unseen, shape the dance of life. Orbiting moons cast their pale glow, tracing silent arcs around this world. They remind you of the moons of your own Earth, how they have guided tides and calendars for millennia. You sense the quiet discipline of their paths, the unseen mathematics that keeps them bound. There is comfort here, in knowing that even across unimaginable distances, the same principles govern motion, echoing an order that is not cold, but intimate. The universe, in its vastness, feels personal, as if it is leaning close to whisper, everything moves, everything changes, and you are part of it. As you contemplate further, the surface beneath the clouds begins to show textures, mountains that rise like soft waves frozen in time, valleys that cradle invisible rivers, plains that stretch endlessly. These features are not random, they are shaped by eons of energy, heat, and gentle erosion, a narrative written in stone and water. You recognize a mirror here, a reflection of your own life's landscapes, peaks of joy, valleys of quiet sorrow, plains of calm routine. You notice how the planet's transformations are slow, deliberate, patient. Each contour has been earned, not rushed. You inhale this patience, letting it mingle with your own sense of time. You shift your focus to the light. The star that warms this distant world shines with a steady persistence, neither hasty nor hesitant. Its rays reach across space, touching every curve of terrain, every ripple in the atmosphere. You feel the heat not as fire, but as gentle insistence, a reminder that growth and change require consistent care. Shadows lengthen and shrink, tracing slow dances across mountains and valleys. In them, you recognize cycles of beginnings and endings, of appearances and disappearances, all flowing seamlessly into one another. Even darkness has purpose here, and you begin to see the soft edges of what you once thought harsh or final. Floating in contemplation, you notice the silence. Not emptiness, but a quiet filled with subtle motion, the soft hum of magnetic fields, the distant flicker of cosmic radiation, the slow spin of the planet itself. You realize that even in what seems void, there is constant activity, life in forms you cannot name, movement in directions you cannot see. It mirrors the thoughts within you, unseen, yet constantly shaping your perceptions, your decisions, your sense of being. You sense that observation alone is transformative. By simply witnessing, you participate in the universe's subtle unfolding. Your mind drifts to the water that might exist here. Perhaps liquid flows beneath icy crusts, perhaps it forms clouds that rain gently upon plains. You feel the water as a connective tissue, linking all surfaces, feeding mountains and valleys alike. You imagine dipping your hand into a stream, feeling the temperature of a planet far from your own body, and yet sensing the same softness that water brings everywhere. It is both alien and familiar, teaching you that similarity and difference are threads woven tightly together in the fabric of existence. Time stretches. You move along the planet's orbit in thought, circling its sun, noting the subtle tilt of its axis. Seasons unfold with slow, deliberate grace, creating patterns of warmth and chill, of light and shadow. You notice how each change is gentle, measured, neither sudden nor catastrophic. And yet, there is drama in these quiet shifts. Life could flourish or adapt or fade entirely, all dependent on patience, persistence, and the unfolding of circumstances beyond immediate control. You recognize in these patterns the rhythm of your own experiences, the inevitability of change, the necessity of adjustment, and the beauty of small, incremental progress. As night falls on this imagined world, stars pierce the darkness like delicate jewels scattered across black velvet. Their cold light travels from incomprehensible distances, yet touches this planet's surface as if intended for it alone. You think of your own gaze reaching across space, connecting you to these points of light, bridging the vast silence. You understand that observation itself is an act of intimacy, a way to participate in the universe's story without demanding it to change. You sit in this realization, feeling your thoughts expand and contract like cosmic breathing, a gentle rise and fall in harmony with the planet's own cycles. Here, in this quiet contemplation, you feel a gentle merging. The lines between observer and observed blur. The distance between yourself and the planet collapses into shared rhythm. The lessons of orbits, rotations, moons, light, shadow, and water are no longer abstract, no longer merely objects of study. They are felt, lived, absorbed. Patience, transformation, persistence, and reflection are no longer ideas on paper. They are sensations, carried on the quiet pulse of distant worlds. You allow yourself to linger a moment longer, feeling the planet's calm insistence, its patient unfolding. You recognize that your own thoughts, too, can move slowly, deliberately, with a quiet respect for the rhythms of life. The universe mirrors your inner state, and in turn, you mirror the universe. You sense that this connection, delicate and profound, is not fully understood, and perhaps never will be, and in that uncertainty lies a kind of comfort, an invitation to continue the journey. As you draw your attention back from the imagined orbit, you carry with you a soft awareness, that every planet has its own story, every rotation a hidden rhythm, every orbit a patient unfolding. And though you return to your own world, your thoughts linger among these distant landscapes, learning from their quiet grace, attuned to the gentle pulse that links all things across the vast, starlit expanse. You lie back and watch the stars stretch across the sky, one by one, each a distant sun casting a quiet light into the black velvet of night. Your gaze follows the familiar constellations, the stories they have carried for thousands of years, weaving legends with science, myth with light. You feel their gentle presence, as if the cosmos itself is breathing slowly, letting you share in its calm rhythm. Between these points of light, you sense the spaces in between, the silent voids where mystery lingers. These are the places where imagination drifts freely, where thought stretches without edges. Each darkness is not empty, it is filled with possibility, a quiet canvas for ideas to bloom. You float here in a gentle suspension, as if gravity has softened its pull, and every thought slows to match the pace of the universe. You imagine planets circling distant stars, each a whisper of color, light, and motion. Perhaps there is a world bathed in green twilight, oceans reflecting a double sun, mountains curling like smoke toward the sky. On another, frozen winds sculpt icy spires, glimmering under the faint glow of a distant nebula. These worlds are silent, yet in their silence, they speak to your curiosity, inviting you to feel the textures of the unknown, the pulse of time beyond your own. Closer now, you sense the earth beneath you, a gentle sphere humming with life. The oceans move like quiet tides inside your chest, forests breathe through your lungs, and the wind brushing past your skin carries stories of every corner of the globe. You are both observer and participant, a small but essential note in the symphony of the cosmos. The night sky does not overwhelm, it cradles you, showing you that vastness can coexist with intimacy, that exploration is a companion, not a demand. Above, a comet streaks, silver against indigo. Its tail unfurls slowly, as if in gratitude for your watching. You trace its path with your fingertips, imagining its journey over centuries, the rocks and ice that have traveled further than any living creature can. Each fragment of the comet's heart is a witness to the cosmos' patient artistry, sculpting beauty in ways you can only begin to perceive. It reminds you that time is layered, each moment both fleeting and eternal, and you are invited to exist within it with gentle awareness. The constellations shift imperceptibly, impermanent in their seeming permanence. You notice Orion nodding across the sky, Cassiopeia leaning back as if stretching, the Milky Way spilling like a ribbon of powdered silver. These slow dances are ancient, unnoticed by most, yet they touch you now with a quiet intimacy. You sense the stories etched into light, the migrations of stars, the birthplaces of nebulas slowly forming clouds of new potential. You breathe in this story, feeling it settle like stardust in your thoughts, soft and quiet. Somewhere far away, a pulsar pulses rhythmically, a cosmic heartbeat. Its beat is distant yet clear, reminding you of the deep structures that guide the cosmos, invisible yet profoundly present. You feel your own heartbeat echo its rhythm, a tiny reflection of universal motion. There is comfort in this synchronicity, the knowledge that even the smallest life carries resonance with the larger patterns around it. Drifting further, you imagine the edges of galaxies, their spirals stretching outward, delicate but unyielding. Within those arms, billions of suns dance, each a sun to unseen worlds, each a beacon for the quiet imagination of countless beings. And in this thought, you realize exploration is endless, not just in the outer reaches, but inward, in the quiet folds of reflection, curiosity, and wonder. Every question you have ever held finds a home here, a gentle echo in the larger rhythm of existence. The night feels alive with whispers, though no sound reaches your ears. You sense them in the brushing of leaves, the faint shimmer of distant stars, the slow rotation of Earth beneath you. These whispers are patience, time, and the promise of discovery, softly reminding you that even when the eyes close, the universe continues its gentle conversation. You are part of that conversation, and your restfulness contributes to it. Your attention drifts now to the smallest lights, the dimmest stars barely visible against the canvas of the Milky Way. They seem insignificant, yet in their faint glimmers lies subtle power. Their stories are quiet, their light has traveled eons to reach you. There is a lesson here. Even what seems small carries significance, and even what seems far away can touch your present in profound ways. You feel this truth sink slowly into your awareness, like a gentle tide smoothing rough stones. Between these stars, you envision clouds of interstellar dust, nurseries of new suns, cradles of worlds yet unborn. In this, you feel a gentle hope, a soft curiosity. The universe is always creating, always offering new mysteries to wander through. You realize that exploration is not a race but a meandering, a calm appreciation of what exists, what has existed, and what is yet to emerge. As the night deepens, the sky darkens further, and you feel a lull in your thoughts. You sense the collective quiet of the universe settling around you, a soft embrace that encourages letting go. The constellations hold their stories close, the stars keep their light steady, and you begin to drift in harmony with their rhythm. Every breath becomes a gentle wave, every blink a small journey through the vastness above and within. Soon, the horizon begins to blur, the line between sky and earth softening. You carry with you the quiet lessons of the cosmos, the patience of stars, the resilience of planets, the subtle artistry of light traveling across eons. Sleep calls, not as an escape, but as a continuation of this journey. It is the next step, a gentle passage into dreams where curiosity and serenity meet in quiet companionship. And in this moment, you understand. The cosmos is never distant, and discovery never ends. You are part of it, always connected, always capable of noticing the soft wonders that drift like whispers through the universe. Tonight, you rest within that calm, and tomorrow, new mysteries will await your gentle attention.